ubiquitous across the United States. According to studies, our diet, not just during pregnancy, but even before conception, has profound effects in determining the health, intelligence, and immune systems of our children. The problem is deeper, more serious, and more pervasive than anyone imagined, and no one is safe. It is widely accepted that mental illness, antisocial behavior, reduced intelligence, and most life-altering chronic diseases are primarily genetic. That is, they are not the result of dangerous foods, but this assumption is dead wrong. Further, this false belief perpetuates bigotry, contempt, and a growing but generally ignored atrocity occurring right under our noses in urban communities. By itself, a single pebble is harmless. However, put enough small pebbles together and start them rolling down the side of a mountain, and suddenly you have an avalanche. An avalanche doesn't just move earth and rocks from one place to another, it destroys everything in its path. We are already experiencing an expanding crisis of physical and mental health deterioration from an avalanche of commercially prepared convenience food. There is compelling evidence that the modern epidemic of learning disabilities, poor school performance, depression, aggressive behavior, and despair are all influenced by the avalanche of fake food that has invaded our nation and taken over our cities. Malnutrition caused by the lack of natural food and fresh produce has troubled humanity for eons. Today, malnutrition is no longer the exclusive problem of underdeveloped nations that have poor economies and inadequate food distribution networks. It is increasingly being experienced throughout the entire modern world as people eat foods that lack the micronutrients humans need for good health. In other words, excess calorie malnutrition is spreading disease to all parts of the globe. However, this new widespread malnutrition, what I call fast food malnutrition, is not as obvious as it would be without the influence of conventional medicine. Fast food malnutrition creates chronic inflammation and causes weight gain, but subtle micronutrient deficiencies disproportionately target the brain. Fast food malnutrition goes largely undetected because conventional medicine has developed its quick-fix solutions that allow us to destroy our bodies with fast food even as we appear perfectly healthy. Prescriptions and pills have created a new normal. Our blood vessels and organs are routinely damaged by our chemical and calorie-dense diets, but the medical establishment persuades us that our health is beyond our control, and we need its pharmacological solutions in order to thrive. But the truth is this: our diets are the primary driver of our health and longevity, and the medical community is doing us a disservice when it entices us to pop pills in answer to all that ails us. Disease is not inevitable. People are now enslaved to their illnesses and food addictions, accompanied by years of chronic suffering and medical dependence before a premature death. And this problem has become ubiquitous. But the wrong food damages the brain, too, and is destroying lives and the American dreams of liberty and success. Fast food malnutrition is resulting in fast food genocide. America's future is being threatened by pebbles. The choice to eat unhealthy foods may seem inconsequential, yet this choice doesn't just make us fatter. It also contributes to an avalanche of health and social problems, including chronic disease, diminished intelligence, attention deficits, reduced educational and occupational opportunities, and even increased drug addiction, violence, and crime. I will share the details of how unhealthy food has affected our nation and the devastating consequences that have followed. Escalating health tragedies are worsening in all demographics and regions of the country, and more so in younger people and in impoverished communities with poor access to fresh produce. Robert Phillips, my collaborator, and I want to shine a light on the challenges of these impoverished communities, and specifically the African American urban community now and in the past. However, as you hear the data, the studies, and the history presented throughout this book, remember that this damage is occurring today all over our country, to all ethnic and racial groups where fast food consumption is high. But without question, it is clear from the evidence that the African American urban community has suffered greatly. Compared with white Americans, if you are African American and live in an urban area in the United States, you are less likely to complete high school. You have a 47% greater chance of having high blood pressure. You have an 80% greater risk of experiencing a fatal stroke. You have a 50% greater risk of dying from heart disease. You are twice as likely to have diabetes. You are more than 4 times more likely to have severe kidney disease. You're more likely to get cancer and die.